What's happening, YouTube? Anthony Marsh on Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film with my review on, as promised, the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Morlun figure. You know, continuing from the theme with Shriek, because they're both vampiric characters in their way, and I want to do a review on this to complete, you know, as I'm going to do more of these figures, part of this wave of Spider-Man figures that are also tied with the Spider-Man No Way Home figures to do the Build a Armadillo figure. This was from the Shriek review from yesterday, so today I'm going to do Morlun as promised and take a little glimpse at him, but it's going to be real quick because there's not much about Morlun to look at in terms of like articulation or anything like that of a nature, because there's really not much stuff to do with him. He doesn't come with no other accessories besides, again, the Build-A-Figure piece and a different head. So let's take a look at the figure, but before we look at the figure outside of the box, look at the box art. This is how it looks, and there's some details about Morlun, how you pronounce his name. He is basically one of the few characters that appeared in the Spider-Verse comics, from what I heard. He's kind of like a substitute of Morbius in a way, but even though I haven't read a lot of Spider-Man comics, and given that he's in the same wave as Shriek and as well as the following Spider-Man No Way Home, Marvel Legends, and one Gamerverse to build the Armadillo figure. But when you look at Morlun, he's one of my first vampire characters as action figures, and also one of the first Marvel villains that are based on vampires and Dracula and all of that in my collection. But other than that, let's take a look at the figure. This is here's some details about him if you want to pause the video and read it. It's available in other different languages. So he's one of the second of many figures, but although he's like the fifth figure in line with this to do Armadillo, and this is, you know, how I'm going to do this. Since I already got both now, Morlun and Shriek, all I have to do now is do the two, do the black and gold Spider-Man from No Way Home, Doctor Strange, J. Jonah, and Gamerverse Miles Morales from the Spider-Man Miles Morales PS4, PS5 game. So let's take a look at Morlun and see how he is in comparison. Alright everybody, now let's take a look at Morlun, because there's only two accessories that this guy came with, because the only accessory, you know, the change with him is his other alternative head, where he's about like he's on the verge of wanting to bite you and suck your blood and all of that. And he is a very fierce looking one here, because compared to this face, I don't think there's not really much of a difference with this Morlun head. You know, you got the standard head where he's just what he is, and then the second one where he's like on the verge of wanting, you know, look at how much dimension, and you know, they did a good job sculpting his alternative head where he wants to bite people and suck blood. Like he's like a you know, basically he's like one of those, you know, vampire villains in Marvel that's on the verge of you know, really like very thirsty for blood and stuff like that. There's not really much to do with this guy, because I know that this dude came from back in his debut in the Ultimate, you know, in some of the one of the multiverse stories of Spider-Man back in 2012, which was roughly 10 years ago, during the Spider-Verse saga. And, you know, basically I have never heard of this dude, but I do recall Morbius. But if this was Morbius and not Morlun, but I mean, I could see that. But when you look at this guy, he's kind of like an alternative substitute of Morbius, because in given of his stature, the clothes, the hair, the vampire, you know, look and aesthetic, he doesn't have like, yeah, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, both his heads have the same sculpted hairlines, but even though when you look at it, there's not really much difference. But I do know that the first head has a complete black color, or maybe that's from the lighting of my camera. But this, well, I don't think there's not really much different about this hair, the head sculpt with the hair. But I do think that, yeah, they're both roughly the same head, but given the fact that this feels like there's more dimension to this, while this feels like a little feels a little backward, if you know what I mean by that. You know, and then, you know, with the heads, again, go back to the heads. You know, one head has him smiling, and the other head has him like, you know, I'm so angry, I want to suck you, and, you know, suck you of all your blood, and so I can be, you know, such like that. But that's about that. Now, in terms of the eyes, in terms of the the shade of red in the eyes, they're both identically the same, hue of red. But though I feel like this one has a more brighter red to it, but this one also I feel has like less red to the iris around the eyes, if you can briefly look at it and see it. But there you go with that one. And then I also want to talk about how they did his wardrobe. I like the way how they put a lot of wrinkle to his pants, which was unique, for his figure, because this is straight out of the comic books. And how they did his pants, and then also his jacket. You look at his jacket, there is some good detail of wrinkle on the back and even on the arms. His hands, again, you can't, I don't know if you can take his hands out. No, you cannot. You can't, interchange his hands or anything. And you can do all kinds of poses with him. So you got that going. In terms of his head, you can turn his head around, but given the amount of, given that the hair is so back, with the long hair, you can't really do much articulation, turning his head all the way forward and backwards and left and right, and then in a 360 degree angle. Well, yes, you can, but you just gotta be careful. Like, if you want to turn his head around to get some good head movement because of the hair, and even on this head, that's probably why you're not going to have much head movement. As for his articulation points, you can do some bit of the elbow crunch, but the elbow crunch is limited to just going this way, and same go for on this arm, because you can't really do much, because given the amount of mass weight on the arms, given the amount of weight on the jacket that Morlun is wearing, so you can't do that. You cannot take his shirt off. Well, no, you can't, because, and also not only that, this is rubber, and you can't get rid of the jacket easily, so it's best to be kept on. I don't think there's any way you can take off the jacket, so there you go with that one. As for his leg crunches, there's not really much you can do. Well, wait, yeah, you can. You can do some leg crunches on Morlun, like this way, but let's see, on this other arm, this other leg, you can do leg crunches on this one as well. You got that going. And then you also have his ankle pivots. His ankle pivots can, work well, because again, this is a male figure, and female Marvel Legends figures have some really bad leg pivots and knee pivots, because I don't know any ones that have some good ones. Let's raise his arms and see how he looks like he's on the verge of getting you. So yeah, you got that going with that pose for him like this, and even with this one and with this pose. Let's see how he looks with his other alternative head when doing this pose. And here's Morlun with his other alternative head, because to differentiate the fact that it's hard to differentiate from what he had with this head on when you first get the figure. This is the one where he's like on the on the attack, ready to suck anyone's blood and his victims and stuff in to attack Spider-Man. So you got that going. So let's zoom in and see how he looks with that alternative head. And yeah, very fierce looking. Now on to the build-a-figure piece for Armadillo. When you get Morlun, he does have the right arm for him. So this is the arm joint. And so far, all the Marvel Legends figures with the build-a-figure piece, I'm always mostly have arms, and I do the chest or the legs and stuff of like. Okay, so let's plug in the chest piece that came with Shriek earlier. Plug that in, and well, that's easy to plug in, because it's not like the other Marvel Legends I failed to collect, with arms and leg pieces, but never had the torso. And I do have a few heads for some build-a-figure pieces. Now, this is how Armadillo will come together once you get, all the figures. So all I have to do now is get the Miles Morales figure for his right leg, that black and gold Spider-Man for his left leg, and then J. Jonah would have, like, I think the head, and then wait, let me go back to the box of the figure again for one of the figures. So okay, when I get the other ones, J. Jonah comes with his right arm, Doctor Strange with the head for Armadillo, Miles Morales Spider-Man with his left leg, and the black and gold Spider-Man with his right leg. So once I've done that, then this figure will be my first Build-A-Figure I've completed, because I've never thought I would do this. Because of all the years I kind of wanted to do Marvel Legends and do Build-A-Figure figures, yeah, it's coming together at this point once I finish it. So all in all, the Morlun figure is all right. It's okay, but like, it feels like it's a peg warmer. That's why I pretty much bought this for $11 off of Amazon at the time I'm recording this, because I feel like this figure feels more like a peg warmer, because like, I don't even know anyone who's buying this and Shriek, but it seems like everybody's mostly buying the figures based on Spider-Man No Way Home, plus the Gameverse Miles Morales, but you gotta collect all 6 except for that Spider-Man figure from No Way Home that Tom Holland Spider-Man was wearing, the red and black with the gold around it. Whoops, sorry. Because these the 6 remaining figures do come with the Build-A-Figure pieces in order to do this. So once I get the head, get the right leg, the right arm and both legs, then Armadillo is complete. And once I've done that. So anyway, guys, that's it for my review for Morlun. What do you guys think of this review? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another Marvel Legends review.